You know, when a European Tour weekend has started, when Alan Norris takes to the stage. A champion on the European Tour at the end of last year in Hildesheim, as you may have picked up from Elmar Polka, RMC, on the stage just a few moments ago. And he gets his campaign underway here against the Nordic Baltic qualifier Marco Kantele, who secured his place in the last 32 with a 6-5 win over Antonio Alcinas yesterday. It was far from pretty, an average of 81.23, the lowest of any of Friday's winners. And you feel this is a big step up in trip and class for Marco. But Alan Norris hasn't by and large been too convincing on the European Tour so far this year. And the new money rule, the ranking rule that was brought in earlier this year, at the start of this year, he's one of the players that may be feeling slightly more pressure than most, given the way he's acquitted himself so far. Paul Nicholson alongside me for this one.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rob. I think the ranking system, as it is for this year, has definitely had its effect on certain players coming into the event on Saturday afternoons and Saturday evenings. The guys on Fridays already know that they've got ranking money, so it'll be interesting to see how Chuck handles it today.
QWare calling this one again for us. Alan Norris was jokingly complaining about the heat when I arrived this morning. It is a very warm day. It poured with rain yesterday, but it's a very different atmosphere today, and I think come 5 o'clock this afternoon and certainly into the evening session as well, it will be very warm down on stage already. You can see Norris mopping his brow at the back of the hockey. It's certainly going to be an occasion where players feel the heat in more ways than one.
140.
Well, where Alan lives in southern Scotland, it's absolutely gorgeous, but it does get quite cold there most of the year. I know they have some very good days.
97.
But then again, Alan knows a lot about Scandinavia. He's obviously got a Scandinavian opponent today, but he used to live in Sweden.
Yeah, he did. He speaks the language as well.
That's where we get his Twitter handle from, MFNW180. The man from nowhere.
I've always wondered, but never asked. I should have just come straight to you, Paul. Well, 3 second-round defeats so far in Europe. He's 25th in the European Order of Merit. Alan Norris, his title defence in Hildesheim lasted only 2 matches at the start of this year. He was eliminated in the last 16 by Kim Huybrecht. And he's won just 1 European Tour match since then as well. That was a 6-5 defeat of Matt Clark in Gibraltar. And he didn't lead in that one until the 9th leg as well. He really struggled to get going. And then eventually fell in the 3rd round at the hands of Darren Johnson. What a year he's had so far as well. Norris then. Well,
Norris has got to be careful because yesterday Kantele had a slow start, but he got into the match in the middle.
Yeah, he was 70 away there, left himself the tops by finding treble 10. It was good thinking by Norris. Kantele, well, it was an outside chance of checking out on 161, but
Alan, you require
Norris
40.
setting it up nicely indeed for an opening hold of throw.
Marco, you require 180.
They're the kind of shots that he wasn't missing at the back end of last year in Hildesheim, that's for certain. And this 118 checkout, which he can't hit now, it would have hurt Norris. It would have just set the tempo for the match, saying to Norris, don't mess around because I will come and haunt you.
80.
He can't afford to miss his double 10 now. Got to be clean, crisp, precise.
Oh, that's a long way inside. And that's the danger. And he's busted his score, but
Marco, you require 38.
Out of nowhere, Kantele here has a golden opportunity to break the Norris throw in the very first leg. Just wonder whether he'll split this. No, he won't by the looks of things. The camera zones in on double 19, and that is a very crisp and clean take. Exactly what Alan Norris needed, but simply couldn't conjure.
Game on.
Well, Marco Kantele will be thrilled to take that first leg, and a little surprised.
He needed snoopers at one point there. He was that far adrift, but he leads 1-0. Marco Kantele, just to remind you, a player who came through the Nordic Baltic qualifier, which took place in Gothenburg in the middle of March. He's had a long time to wait to actually come round to playing this particular tournament.
180.
Although he did just miss out on qualifying for 3 further European Tour events. He made the finals of the qualifiers for the last 2 and also for the next one in Vienna as well. But it's only the winner who gets a place.
21.
And he's only scored 21 there as well.
I don't wish to be negative about any dart player at all, but I, for one, was quite glad to see Ulf in Sindelfingen.
100.
So Marco losing the match to Ulf, it's good. We got the Ulf factor for the weekend, so it's nice to have a bit of variety.
Well, they've already had the qualifiers for the next 3 European Tour events, and Ulf will be back for the 9th European Tour event in Maastricht
81.
in September. So we will see Seidel again. Kim Viljanen won the other 2, so we'll see him in Vienna next time and also in Leverkusen
91.
later this summer as well.
I guarantee ticket sales are going to go up now that Ulf's going to Maastricht.
Yeah. Absolutely. Popular player, popular man.
100. Alan, you require 130.
Well, Norris can get back on track here. He doesn't have to go for the bull. Might not need it. Might go 18s. Oh, how about going double 5?
125.
Well, he split it again, just like the last leg, and he's just making things a little tricky for himself.
Yeah, I mean, said it yesterday as well about 1 or 2 others. The approach play has been fine from Norris so far, but when it comes to the final reckoning, the money shot, he's not finding it so far. And once again, he'll just have to watch his step here. Double 2.
Game from the second leg. Alan Norris.
Well, one thing Alan Norris is doing is bringing an aggressive game to the European Tour this weekend. He does that a lot of the time. He likes to be aggressive, get up there, beat his chest around. He's a very imposing character, but a very friendly man off the off.
97.
I was talking to Dan Dawson yesterday, and I did promise him that if Kantele actually got through his match, I would do some research on Finnish javelin throwers, just to prove that people from Finland can throw projectiles pretty well, not just accurately, but very far. So this is what I came up with.
So what you're saying is he should stand at the back of the arena and throw it from the bar.
Well, according to one of the guys that I found out about, a guy called Juha Laukkanen, he's most famous for throwing a javelin at the 1994 athletics meeting in Oslo and impaling a judge in the arm. So maybe we shouldn't tell Marco to go to the back of the room. But there are a couple of world champions, Seppo Räty, Aki Pavainen.
Oh, the great one who challenged Backley all the time as well. What was his name?
Tero Pitkämäki.
Oh, this is going to bug me unless you keep naming them.
Are you thinking about the Czech player, Czech javelin thrower, Jan Železny?
No, there's somebody else. Anyway, Vlad the Impaler, Marco Kantele. Just ticking over in this third leg. It's back on throw, 1 break apiece in the
85.
early stages of this one. The only quirky style fact that I can come up with about Kantele as well is the actual name, Kantele. It's a Finnish word. It's a traditional Finnish plucked stringed instrument, like a lute.
Very interesting 59. Indeed.
A bit like being called Ashley Banjo.
Well, for some reason, Alan keeps gnawing away at his left finger. Has he caught his finger on one of the wires on the dartboard, perhaps?
Yes, he is.
Alan, you require 146.
I do notice that in his left hand, the points are very, very close to that area that he's been licking. 86. So maybe he's actually hit himself at the point. But the point right now is 48 for Kantele for a 2-1 lead.
Does he normally... he throws obviously right-handed, but sometimes players retrieve with their left hand. He retrieves with his right hand there. I'm just wondering if he normally does that anyway. We'll keep an eye on that.
60.
But this one's, again, threatening to go either way here. Norris...
score.
Well, he's busted score. Would you believe that?
16.
Something's definitely going on with his left hand.
To work with, yeah, there's clearly a problem here. He's looking at it again. We'll just see if we can zone in on that. Anyway, Kantele won't stand on ceremony here, and he takes out double 8.
Marco Kantele.
And he leads by 2 legs to 1. It is a concern, this, for Alan Norris. It's another break, 3 successive breaks of throw. Yeah.
4th leg, Marco to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, what dart players do sometimes is in their left hand if they're right-handed or right hand if they're left-handed, is that they hold the darts and they put all 3 points on the little finger, and they get a little callus there. And it's
100.
just a way of feeling the sharpness. And it's just something that people do. Maybe he's done that and he's bashed the top of the flights and he's just maybe stabbed himself a little bit with a very sharp point.
85.
Or it could have been a retrieval from the board, maybe nicked a little bit of an edge of a number or one of the wires. It does happen from time to time.
Just wonder what happened with the security guy Mark down there as well. Whether he was handing him
96.
something. Didn't quite see what was going on.
Mark Hennigan, one of the security guys who travels the circuit. He's a very prepared guy. He's like Bear Grylls. He's probably got some
100.
plasters in his pocket.
Norris needs a medical timeout here. But he's in danger of getting embroiled in a bit of a tussle here
59.
with Kantele, who was a clear second favourite in this one, 11-4 in the betting before the start of play. Norris the odds-on favourites.
140.
I will say one thing, Rob, as well. You've got to beware the wounded man. It's happened on many, many occasions in the darting world. People have won events and had incredible performances when
85.
ailed. I remember Simon Whitlock could barely walk and had 105 average first round of the World Championships.
He's not really settled here, Norris.
42. Marco, you require 161.
Yes, he retrieved with his left hand there, whereas before he was retrieving with his right, so clearly was an issue before. Looks to be still
60.
on his mind, though.
Alan, you require 134.
I think he needs to grasp some focus from somewhere, and this would help.
28. Marco, you require 101.
What he needs to do is just take a deep breath and close his eyes and remind himself that he's in a match. But Kantele for 3-1.
85.
This
Alan, you
106
require 106.
would definitely get Alan Norris back on track.
Well, he needs something. He needs just to give himself a platform on which to build, but he will not be
58. Marco,
having the
you require
opportunity
16.
here. And Kantele here, double 8 for a 3-1 lead for the first hold of throw in this match as well. Well, that's further away. Nearer the double 11 bed, that one.
No score.
And let off for Alan
Alan,
Norris.
you require 48.
Well, we've had everything in this match. Injury, a bus score on 60, and potentially now 4 breaks of throw.
Game
And that's
shot
exactly
the
what we
fourth
have.
leg. Alan Norris.
Well, the averages, if I can bring
Fifth
them up,
leg, Alan to throw first.
and we will try and bring them up on the screen for you in a
Game
moment.
on.
1 or 2 issues with the internet connection today. Frustrating.
It's been a weird game, isn't it? And we have had a few weird games already in this European
60.
darts match play. A couple yesterday were absolutely bonkers. Kantele against Alcinas for me was just weird. And then last night we had the
100.
frivolics of Lewis versus Van der Voort, which is a game that we call together, Rob, and a game that I'll probably never forget.
Yeah, the Dobie-Peter Jakes match was one that
140.
had missed opportunities aplenty in it. Likewise, Christian Kist against Kyle Anderson in the last match of the night. That was 6-5 as well. Didn't have a whitewash yesterday.
100.
But we might have an upset in this one if Kantele can keep on conjuring up numbers like that.
I remember the last time we
55.
said we hadn't had a whitewash, and that was when we went into the final, the Sindelfingen event, with Peter Wright versus Van Gerwen, and that was a whitewash.
The least likely potential bageling
41.
you're ever likely to witness, but it was 6-0 that day. It can happen. Well, Kantele's missed an opportunity there just to apply some pressure. Norris might get the chance to
134.
win back the darts here on his throw.
There's some good signs there on that throw from Alan Norris. It just looked a lot more rhythmic. There seemed to be some force in the arm again, whereas before he's
44.
been waving his
Alan,
arms
you require
about, just
112.
stretching out. Now he just seems to be on point, throwing darts like he should be. Treble 18 will leave double top. That's more like it.
Leg. Alan Norris.
And the bear-like Alan Norris.
Sixth leg, Marco
back in this match. In front, 3-2 to Chuck.
Yeah, first hold of throw, and it's come in the fifth leg, a 1-1-2 check out for Alan Norris, the number 9 seed, and it clearly meant a lot to him as well.
55.
Well, I think these two players are polar opposites, really, aren't they? I mean, you've got the very composed, very Finnish-style player in Kantele. You won't get a lot of emotion from him. Stone-faced, very much like the very famous Finnish poker players like Juha Helppi and Patrick Antonius.
100.
I'll have to take your word for this, Paul.
They're just poker-faced all the way through, just like Magnus Carus is, being Swedish. But Alan is completely different. He wears his emotion on his sleeves, and you can see the aggression in his face as he throws.
123.
Well, he's 77 points down there. Oh, sorry, 57 points down there.
100.
Yeah, Norris is the 9th seed, mostly by virtue of a win in Hildesheim back in October, where he beat Jelle Klaassen in the final. And the winner of this game plays the winner of one of our games later this afternoon, which is Kim Huybrechts or the Rock Peter
95.
Hudson.
Alan, you require 150.
Yeah, Hudson eye-catching yesterday. Huybrechts has already beaten Alan Norris on the European Tour this year.
Well, well, well.
70.
You don't say that very
Marco,
often.
You require
He's got 150 and he's gone for the bull first. And has he done that just to try and unsettle the Finn? I don't think it's worked.
Well, against some players it could have easily backfired.
98.
But,
Alan, you require 80.
Oh, well. Now, I've got to ask
40.
questions about that.
Marco, you require 53.
There's a couple of players on the circuit who do that, and we'll come back to that in a second and see what the conclusion of this leg is. Is it going to cost Chuck?
Fingers could be burnt here. He's already had them cut.
33. Alan, you require 40.
Well, is he going to get away with it? Yes, he is.
On the sixth leg,
Now,
Alan Norris.
Let's have a chat about it, shall we?
I can see the logic in going top.
Seventh leg, Alan.
It's a bigger target,
first.
but
Game on.
obviously the danger is, as we've witnessed there, if you miss the first dart, you go north of the wire, you're left with it all to do.
Yeah, what do you do if you miss the first one? I know Gary Anderson likes tops as well.
Whereas if you go for treble
95.
20 or A20, then you can leave yourself double 10, 2 cracks at that, or if you hit the 20, hit another single 20, and then have a go at tops. And you only need 1 from 1. 2 from 2 is a lot harder than 1 from 1.
Yes, it is. I just don't see...
Although some will say if you've got the first one in, the guide is there.
Yeah.
100.
And the way that the darts go in for Alan Norris, I can see what he's trying to do, but in a game where things have been going up and down more times than a yo-yo, you just think, you know what, play it safe, conventional...
83.
Single stuff, like make sure you've got a single first.
But it came on the back of that attempted 150 as well, and as you say, it might have been just to try and unsettle his opponent.
Well, there is a school of thought, Rob, that sometimes when things aren't particularly brilliant on the board, I know he's winning 4-2, but it hasn't been his most vintage performance so far. You just try the exhibition
60.
stuff, and it relaxes you a little bit.
Yeah, and if it comes off, and the crowd appreciates it, it loosens the shackles, doesn't it?
It does.
I suppose.
127.
Well, it's done something, because this leg he's been much better. He's on tops after 12.
Yeah, he's absolutely motored through this one, and all of a sudden, well, Kantele is playing catch-up here.
140. Alan, you require 40.
5-2 it will be via tops. He's messing around again.
20.
Is he going to get burnt this
Marco,
time?
you require 78.
Well, he could well do. Opportunities are running out for Kantele. 1 dart in hand at tops.
38. Alan, you require 20.
Well, he's got away with it, Chuck. Now he's got to execute double 10. And he'll have a big cushion in this match. And the potential to win it 6-2.
Alan Norris. 8th leg, Marco 2.
I think that's what they call getting it large from Alan Norris. That was that looked like a targeted attack, didn't it? As if there was maybe one or two people in particular who'd been maybe getting on his back, or maybe it was just a release.
I think it's probably more along those lines. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Alan Norris.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I'd be surprised. I can't see anything untoward going on down there. We're right over the crowd in our gantry here as well, so we can see pretty much everything as far as the crowd's behaviour is concerned.
133.
We were talking about Lee Bryant yesterday, and you know how personable he was, and you know Alan's exactly the same. He'll do anything for anybody.
59.
He's very much a giver of his time to the fans and to other players, and that's the way that things have got to be these days, with the amount of media involved, the amount of fans that require players' attention. Alan's definitely on board with that 21st century thinking in the game of darts.
Well, we said it about Daryl Kearney in the first match of the day. It was all about just getting through. I mean, there were patches of really good stuff from Kearney, but overall, you know, you feel there's more to come from him. But on this Saturday for the seeded players, it is just about negotiating that first hurdle.
93.
And that's exactly how Alan Norris will see this one.
Well, sometimes it's a little bit... If you're an Alan Norris fan, for instance, it can be a little bit infuriating because you know how good he is.
55.
And you know what form he's had recently. But he's more like PDC catering at the moment. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Well, you do in Germany. It'll be meat.
54.
Either pasta or rice. Well, the Finnish player looks to have control of this particular leg.
43. Marco, you've acquired
even more
20.
so now. No pressure applied whatsoever from Norris, so Kantele for double 10.
I hope he likes double 7.
Yeah, I was going to say, he split that as well. And
no score.
Norris, had he applied some pressure, it may well have been a different story. But still, an opportunity to mount a challenge. He could have done without that stray 5, though.
85.
You've got to say that if
Marco,
Alan Norris is asking if that's
20.
65, then you might need to go and get some appointment with an optician, because that was pretty blatant. That's pretty blatant as well. It's 5-3 now. And even though Alan Norris is not playing vintage stuff today, he's still in front and he can still win this match. It just worries me sometimes when players are asking, is that 65? And we've said that Gary Anderson's not played with the optimum eyesight over the last few years and still won 2 world titles. But one thing about playing darts is you've got to look after your eyes. You've got to be able to see what you're hitting.
Well, Anderson's not doing too bad with the glasses now either.
140.
I think the crowd are trying to give him a bit of a G up. Just humming his walk-on song.
50.
I was going to ask you, Rob, are you a fan of Scooter?
Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest. I'll echo that sentiment.
94.
Schooner, yes.
Especially in Australia. Schooner on Bondi Beach. Doesn't get much better than that. But it's 170.
100.
And finishes don't get better than that. And this will be a way to finish the game.
Champagne moment potentially here for Alan Norris, not to be, but he will be back because Kantele has 241 to find. That's 65, Alan, as well.
Definitely can't hit treble 20 and a 5 for that one. You can hit soft tip darts, but in steel tip you've got to finish on a double.
I think he's looking at the bullseye here. Yes, well, no, he's not actually. Topsy once. Topsy gets. And Alan Norris is all smiles at the end of what is at times a very curious encounter. 6-3 the final score, but it doesn't really tell the whole story. 4 successive breaks of throw at the outset. Norris took control with the 1-1-2 checkout, and from that moment on he never really looked back, although he still made hard work of that in the end. One or two curious decision-making processes along the way as well. It's left Paul Nicholson looking a little bit baffled, not for the first time, might I add. But Norris is through to face either Kim Huybrechts or Peter the Rock Hudson in the third round tomorrow. On the way next, we've got the mouth from the south. It's back on stage. It's Richard North on his Euro Tour debut up against the number 16 seed and a European Tour winner of the past, Mervyn King.
Hey, diese Darts gehören unserem Bürgermeister. Yeah. Alan, congratulations. Yeah. That looked like work, you know, that was hard work today.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think, oh yeah, Marco Kantele in the draw, you know, who is this guy? I lived in Scandinavia, I played in Finland for a league team. I've known Marco for many years. He's a quality player, and it's really nice to see him getting on the PDC stage this year. And he's tough. You don't want to meet him on the floor, trust me. So I'm very relieved. That's quite flattering for me and Marco. I didn't really play that great, but I think it's because the respect that I have for Marco. But
is it something you realized during the practice as well, that it's not going that easy?
No, the practice was good. I arrived about 10 o'clock last night, so I had a good night's sleep. Up early today, good practice, everything's fine. But, you know, it's just like, there's added pressure this year, you know. If you're a seed and you don't win your first game, your money's not going on the rankings. You've got to win this game. Otherwise, you're not going to be in Hasselt. Why we play the finals in Hasselt, I don't know, because we play the rest of the year in Germany, and the crowd in Germany are the best in the world. We should be playing the finals in Germany.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan. See you tomorrow. Alan Norris.